value from success, growth in discovery. Golden Arrow Resources is a well-funded gold-copper exploration company with proven management and prospective properties in Chile, Argentina, and Paraguay. Golden Arrow trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange, symbol GRG, on Frankfurt, symbol G6A, and the OTCQB, symbol GARWF. For more information, visit us at goldenarrowresources.com or call Sean at 778-686-0135.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Kris Sims, BC Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, her website taxpayer.com. Welcome back to the show, Kris.
Thank you so much.
Kris, do you have major concerns about our new finance minister? After all, everybody called for Bill Morneau's head over the WE scandal. He's gone, and then all of a sudden, this person doesn't have business experience. How many cabinet ministers do have experience in their portfolio to start with?
You know, it depends on the portfolio. Sometimes they've got a background in health. Maybe they're a doctor and they become the health minister. But that isn't always the case. And we're always trying to be helpful. So we will give Minister Freeland the benefit of the doubt. She certainly has her work cut out for her. She's inheriting a portfolio that is in a mess. I need to remind people that within the next 6 months, our federal debt will be $1 trillion. That's a 1 with 12 zeros after it. The last finance minister spent money like crazy, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and this was before COVID hit. So this government, to say the least, has not been fiscally prudent. It has not been fiscally conservative, small c, and they got a lot of work to do. So we'll give her the benefit of the doubt. We'll wait and see what she's able to do. The one thing of concern that we've heard off of the bat is that they want to now, quote unquote, rebuild the Canadian economy, but in a green way. That sounds nice, but if they use, for example, what happened to Ontario Hydro and what happened to the province of Ontario when their Green New Deal came through, it was a disaster. They signed contracts in some cases for 20 or 30 years, paying 78 cents more per kilowatt hour than they needed to. Hydro rates skyrocketed. Just to give you a personal example, my very, very small house that we were renting that didn't include electric heat. All it was lights running the thing. My small house in Ottawa was more than $370 a month for hydro under that green energy plan. The Auditor General of Ontario herself sent out several reports and sounded the alarm. It was a disaster. So, not to put too hard a point on it, they cannot use Ontario's example and try to rebuild the economy in a green image.
The Resource Works Society held a number of workshops and came up with a report, Real Jobs, Real Recovery, with a 19-point agenda, and they talked to industry, unions, Aboriginal leaders, and so on. And they're saying one thing the Canadian government really should focus on is the envy of the world, and that's Canada's natural resources. Develop them in a smart way, innovate, and take advantage of what everybody else in the world would love to have. And yet that seems to be ignored in so many federal government plans. Should they be looking more at the fact that Canada has the third largest oil reserves in the world?
We can't agree more. It's a no-brainer to many people when you just take a quick look at it. You're right. The world needs oil and gas. They need plastics. They need energy. All of this stuff. We are fortunate to have these things in abundance here in Canada. And along with that, we have got the best environmental regulations and the best working conditions and labor laws on the planet. So combine those two things and get those resources out the door. The amount of money that this current federal administration has wasted of taxpayers' money by either buying the Trans Mountain Pipeline for no good reason after chucking it to death when they were trying to twin it, or denying the tech mine the ability to start, All of those things are costing our Canadian economy billions, with a B, billions of dollars. So they need to stop doing that, like tomorrow, like right now. They need to change that thinking right now. And so not only are they ignoring it, they're attacking it and shutting it down and strangling it and blockading it any single time they get a chance. So they need to really have an ideological rethink right now, especially because of what has happened after the COVID-19 problem, with so many people thrown out of work. Resource sector jobs are real money. They're real jobs. They're usually by skilled tradesmen, and they will make more than $100,000 a year. That means that they can buy a home for their families, or save up for one at least, that they can buy that work truck, that they invest in the local economy, that they put their kids in local sports. This is what enriches, truly enriches working class families, are these sorts of jobs. And the government doesn't need to put money into it. They just need to get out of the way. And so we need to make sure as taxpayers that that is what they're doing.
We'll have more with Kris Sims right after this.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications. Patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Kris Sims. Kris, I think we talked about it a little bit before, but are you still concerned that the federal government will tax the sale of your primary residence?
We're very concerned about this because there's a lot of smoke here. It wasn't just a one-time thing that they floated this. So they floated this back during the last election. The Conservatives and then eventually the NDP caught wind of it, and they found briefing documents coming out of the Liberal Party within Ontario saying, hey, we should consider taxing the sale of primary residences. They, of course, denied this and ran away from it because it's wildly unpopular. Now, Blacklock's reporter, the investigative journalism website, has found documents that show, period, that $250,000 are being spent on a CMHC and UBC study that will, in part, consider the sale of primary residences and taxing them. And again, politicians and CMHC, and to some extent other people involved, ran away from this and said, oh, no, that's not what we're doing. But they should just be honest about it, because everybody can see that this group out of UBC that's conducting this study has repeatedly suggested taxing the sale of your primary residence as a way of making money for government. In fact, one of their most recent reports says that the lack of such a tax is a $7 billion cost to government. End quote. So that's really important to remember. They define the lack of such a tax a $7 billion cost to government. That's how they view it. So yeah, we are still very concerned that this is what the federal government is going to eventually do.
Well, if they're going to tax the sale of the primary residence, then shouldn't your mortgage interest and the expenses of upkeep be tax deductible to start with?
And of course, they would make it much more similar to different jurisdictions in the United States. So if they want to start taxing you on the sale of that primary home, the home you're living in right now, they'll have to do a complete overhaul. But we don't have any trust that they'll do that. This, like we pointed out, this government is hemorrhaging money. We are careening down to $1 trillion in debt. It's wounded, and it's hungry, and it's looking for money. And so we don't trust the government in that state. We think that they're coming after your wallet and that they're going to try to tax the sale of your primary residence. And I'll point out, if they're not going to tax it, why do you still need to tell Revenue Canada when you sell it and how much you made on it? Are they just writing a book? Are they curious? They changed the law a couple years ago that you need to report this. Why?
Well, Ottawa certainly isn't using the information to go after money launderers. I don't hear of any prosecutions.
No, we're our wandering teams, Mission Impossible teams tracking down people who are, running away from their tax requirements back home here in Canada, or as you say, laundering the money here at home in Canada. Where's that? But no, they'll go after waitresses and girls who are selling clothes at the mall for a 50% employee discount. And they'll say, that's a taxable benefit. How dare you? We're going to shake you down for some nickels. But they won't go after these big guys.
We'll have more with Kris Sims right after the break.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlan, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Kris Sims. Kris, the federal government is going to transfer the CERB emergency funding for people who lost their jobs into the EI program. Any confidence that they'll be competent doing that, and will people fall between the cracks, especially people who didn't qualify for EI in the first place?
Oh, we're really holding our breath. So, to be fair, we know they needed to get this money out the door quickly when this pandemic was hitting our shores. Nobody knew how severe the disease would be. People were scared with what was happening with the pictures we were seeing in Italy. We knew this had to happen fast. So we get that. That's fair. Now we are several months into this, and we're hearing from far too many small businesses who are saying, I'm desperate to get my employees back, and they always tell me, call me in September, I'm taking the CERB summer off. And so we know that there are people who truly need it. That's fair. We do get that. But we are getting so many calls from these business owners who are at their wits' end, who can't find people. So if they don't need to be on CERB, and if they still can't find work, then that is what the employment insurance program there is for. They already have a system where you report how many times you've applied for work, what type of work you're looking for, and they even try to help you connect to job banks. So that's what it's there for. So we'll try to be optimistic and stay hopeful that that transition to an EI form of payment is smooth, but we can't help but shake this niggling feeling in the backs of our minds about the Phoenix pay system. The Phoenix pay system is software that the federal government uses to try to pay their own employees. It's a payroll system. They still haven't fully cleaned it up, and it's wasting billions of dollars. There are still some federal government employees that have been overpaid for years, and they've had to bank all of it, and still some that have been drastically underpaid to the point where they're living with their parents because they couldn't afford their own rent anymore, but they don't want to leave their jobs. It's a disaster. So let's all hope that this is not Phoenix 2.0.
The WE scandal, redacted pages, entirely blanked out pages being tossed around by the Conservative Party critic. Would it be worth the money to look at this because no real money was spent on it? Or again, is it the attitude that the current government seems to have about taxpayer money that needs to be investigated?
We think column B. We do think this needs to be investigated. The things have been paid back now. But we also want to know how many times there's been financial connections and dealings with this WE group and the federal government. And before the Trudeau government, look back as far as you want. We think the Auditor General should take a very close look at these contracts because it's such a strange thing when you see something as important as, say, youth summer jobs contracted out to an outside source. When you've got thousands of bureaucrats working in Ottawa, why didn't they do it? Why couldn't they do it? Why couldn't a combination of ministry workers do that? So it's a real head scratcher. And so because we always need to keep track of ethics and influence and all those things as part of accountability and transparency, we think the Auditor General should go through every single instance of contact between the federal government and this group.
Kris, anything else we should be keeping an eye on right now?
We are waiting for, and hopefully by airtime we will have seen it, we're still waiting for our financials to come out here in British Columbia, and that's basically where they do an update and say the state of the books, the fiscal situation, and so usually we have that happen, and just after or around that time, we also get the fiscal update from ICBC. And that's where they do like a snapshot, usually for the month of March, from the calendar year and say what state they're in, how much money they're spending or saving or anything. So that's like, I think about 6 weeks overdue now. So keep an eye out for that, because that'll give you a good indicator of the health of our economy right now, government-wise here in BC.
Kris, thank you so much for being on the show. How can people get a hold of you?
We would love for people to get a hold of us. We have a whole toolkit on how to write a very proper and polite and effective letter to whatever government you want to and how to get a hold of them. You can go to our website, taxpayer.com.
My guest has been Kris Sims, BC Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. If you have any questions for Kris or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our popular YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. We're also on Facebook. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of Howe Street Media Incorporated.